Today. So in the previous session, we were understanding about lists. Okay. So in the previous session, I have covered a lot of topics which are related with the lists. Okay. So in this session, I want to complete that collection frameworks in Python. As I told you that collection frameworks, they will hold collection of values. Okay. They are built in. Now they are called simply, they're called what? Built-in collection frameworks, built-in data structures also. So lists, tuples, sets, dictionary. Okay, dictionary. So in the previous session, I started to cover these topics. So the first topic is lists. Within this, much of the topic I covered and I kept the videos in the repository YouTube. You cover from there. So now from some little bit is pending, which is related with the list. After that, I will cover the arrays in Python. Okay. After that, tuples and sets, finally dictionaries. Okay. Why I want to cover array? Because almost array and list both are not similar. Array means in Python, we need to import a module for arrays. Arrays similar to list, but arrays are what we can lists. We can store multiple values, multiple different values. Different means integer, float, string. We can in arrays we define integer array. It is integer array, so we will store integer values. So I will explain whenever I will brief about arrays in Python. So remaining part we will discuss, which is related with the list. So in list, by del keyword, we can delete the particular index value. Okay. So Vasu is as I told you that Vasu is our list that is declared here and defined with the values. Declared means once it is declared and whatever the values, whenever you have filled, that moment it is called, your list is defined. Okay, now this is the list. So within the list, if I want to delete this zero index value by del keyword, we can do like that by del keyword. Before that, I have told remove method. By remove method, pop method, I have used it here to remove the index. Okay. Whenever pop method 0, if you keep the 0 index, so the value which is at the 0 index will be removed. If nothing, any index value mentioned here, the last value of the list that will be removed. Okay. And then, as I told you, the remove method used to remove values and pop to remove value with index. Okay. In remove method, if I pass any string value, any value, name of that value, we can remove. But pop method, we need to mention the index. Okay. So now here by del keyword, after that list name and pass the index value. So that will delete that index value. Okay. Now by del keyword, we can delete the total list. Okay. So int is a list created here with the integer values. This is the int list, which is having 10, 20, 30. These are integer values. Now, if you want to delete that, simply you write del, and that is what your list name. After that, if you want to get print, see first before this, here you print. Before deletion of the list, you keep it on comment. Okay, print num. Okay, num is a list. Now you run this command. Okay, we need to what? Int list. So you run. So this is our list. Okay, int list. So list is, this is, before this was list of Vasu list, but I want to delete this list by delete keyword. So now you use delete keyword to delete the total list. You comment here to delete the total list, okay? To delete the total list. So simply you use delete keyword and then list name. Now, if you want to check again print, if you want to status of list print by print, bracket int. So then you will get class int. Why it is class int? So normally, suppose as I told you that by index del keyword, by mentioning the index value, so that value will be deleted. Okay. So to delete the total list, use the del keyword and then name of the list. We can do like that. Okay. Then after we now, if I go for print statement of int, okay. Now you remove this total, please clears. What is it is stating what we are getting, this is what, this is int. Is function. Where is that? Int is what? Int is a list that is having 10, 20, 30. This is what it is, a list. It is holding these values, integer values. Okay. Now, why it is giving integer means integer is a class, because see, where is our integer? This is our integer. Okay. Now let us come to that clear method. Okay. The clear method, you comment here, clear method. I told you that method means brackets used to empty the list. So the total list will be empty. So here create a list. Okay. Num sub num not any variable, keep any variable, list creation. So keep some values 10 comma 20 comma 30. Okay. So now this is the list now. So if you want to clear the total list, you simply keep int dot clear method. Go for this is the clear method. Okay. Use that method. Method means bracket. So now what happened? That this list will be cleared, but the values will be cleared, but the list will be still exist. So now print bracket int. So then what happen? You will get the empty list. Understood that? Means the clear method will delete the values, but the list will be emptied. Okay. Empty list will be displayed. So clear method, this is what, as I told you that these methods, all that methods, whatever I have used here, this clear method, somewhere I have used remove method, pop method, they are being accessed with the dot operator, but with the class name. Vasu is my class name here. Vasu means list is, it will be considered as a class. So that's why I'm trying to access pop method. This is clear method and somewhat remove method. extend method, all these methods related with the, I am accessing them as class method. Okay, with the class name. What is our class name? List will be treated as a class. List will be treated as a class. Okay. So now you simply mention here class method. So now come down. So next word we need to understand, that is clear, as I told you, that clear method used to empty the list. Now loop through a list by for loop. Okay, we will try to understand loop through list by for loop, okay. What do you mean of this? A list is there. Suppose this is now, this is empty list. We will create one more list is here. Take any number. So, okay, we will loop through our Vasu list. Okay. So loop through means the list, the for loop will be used here. Syntax is word for. Okay. I means index in Vasu. Vasu is our list. Okay, here column. Now print I. So then what happened? It will print what? Let us see. So if you run this code, what we are getting? We are getting all the values. Okay, all the values of what? Our list. List is our list is, where is our list? Vasu. This is our list. This is Vasu list. So now within the Vasu list, these are the values. So now here from 10.5, why? Because these two values removed by remove method. So our list starts with 10.5 and then Rahul 10.5, 66. Because 66, this is our, where is that? This is our method. Okay. This is our class. So 10.5, then after 66, 78.8, 5J, one by one, all that values will be printed. So for loop will be used, for loop will be used to navigate through all the values of the list. Sometimes it is, you can use a word here, iteration, iterate. Iterate means not iterate, navigate, and traverse, traverse, otherwise travel. All these words are equal. Means you are every time you are going through your values of the list, and they are being printed one by one. So that is called loop. Okay, from the starting value to last value, they will be printed. What is the last value? Our last value is this Vasu. Our starting value is this one. So for loop will be used for that purpose. Okay. Okay. Next word. So we can. I am commenting here. Try to understand here. Suppose here what happened, this loop I have used, it uh, it travels through a list. But if I want to get numbers, so you need to create for, so see, for I in, okay. So a range function I will use here. So if I pass 5, so now what happened? Try to understand. What happens now? Try to get a printout of I. So what do you mean of I means? So every time loop travels up to 5 numbers. So initial I we will be taken as 0. So 0 to 5. So last number will not be printed. 0 to 4 will be printed. 0 to 4 values will be printed. So for loop will be used here. So to get the printout of from 0 to 5. 0 to 5, but last 5 will not be included. But you can give the starting number also from 1 to 5. So 1 to 5, in the place of 0, 1 will be the first number, but last number will be the 4. So the 5 will not be included. You will get the 1 to 4 only. Fifth number means last number will not be included. Okay. So same here. I have here what happened, range function I have used for loop to travel through all the numbers to be printed one by one. Here loop rotates through, loop iterates through Vasu list. So every time it goes to, it starts at the 0 index and that value will be taken. After that, last value will be printed one by one, all that through that list. Okay. So now one more thing for loop here. I can do one thing. Some if I have given somewhat incrementation. So and if I return this as 10, so what happened? So every time odd numbers will be printed. First one will be taken, after that 2 will be incremented, 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, like that. You will get all odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. For loop, we can use like this. Suppose if you want to get all the even numbers, that moment you need to put the starting number as 0. Whenever you keep the starting number as 0, you will get all even numbers. Initially 0, then after plus 2, 2 will be incremented, 0 plus 2, 2, next 2 plus 2, 4. You will get all the even numbers, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So for loop range function, in for loop range function that will be used for such a purpose. And for loop will be used for to rotate through, iterate through. As I told you that these are the same words: iterate, navigate, traverse, travel. Means you are going through a list. You are looping. You are going every time. Loop is what? Loop, and it is continuously rotating. It is continuously looking for the values and taking that values and printing that. That's why it is loop. Okay. So loop through list by for loop. The for loop I told you in different manners how to get printout of values, how to get values of all the even numbers by incrementing 2, initial value 2. So every time 2 will be incremented. So if it is 1, so you will get all the odd numbers. Okay. Now next words. Next in for loop, we can, how the for loop can be used with the lists. Okay. Let us comment here. Comment here. Comment. Okay. Print all values. Okay. Print all values by index number. Print all values by index number. Okay. So for this, we will use same for loop here. Okay. You same range function use here for I in range, for I in range. Okay. We will use the len function here. Len function. Try to understand what is the use of len function. And within that len function, we need to pass the list name. After that, I will explain what happens here. Now you print Now print that what is our list name Vasu. So what happened here? Before this, I will try to brief you that print bracket length function used to know the length of the list. How many values are there? Okay. So length function used to know how many values in this Vasu list. Okay. So length function. So here in the for loop, range function used. After that length function, what is the length? That length we will get in the number. So range of number. So already I have used it here, range of a number. If you give that number, so the total numbers will be printed. So let us see here what happened. What is happening here? What is the length of, where is that length? You do one thing, you keep all these in comment section. Up to from here, you keep multi comments here. Multi-line comments, huh? Multi-line comments. Up to where? Up to here. I told you that many times multi-line comments. Every time I am using hash. For that hash will be used in Python for single line comment, one line comment. So comments, I told you that if you keep this hash symbol means Python interpreter will not Python interpreter skips this line. It will not try to execute this line of code. Okay. So if I keep multi-line comments, triple quotes, triple single quotation marks in front of from here, starting point, end point, these total lines will not be executed by the Python interpreter. So now let us see what happened. Still we are getting, so you do one thing clear here. Now run this button. Okay. Okay, no issue. You do one thing. Suppose we keep all the lines with the comment section. Every line of code I am keeping under comment section. Okay. Now everything is under comment section up to here, the total line of code. Now if you run this code, still it is getting somewhat per length. For I in range, len Vasu, print Vasu, this is what comment. Then what happened? So what is the length of the 18 values are there? How many values are there? 18 values in Vasu list. Okay. Then after I want to use the for loop here. Okay. So that moment length of Vasu here 18 number will be taken. So now that moment, see, open this code. Now it is okay. Now what is the length of 18? So print I. If you keep I here, so I is what every time I initially whatever the value will be there, the total will be, see last what happened. So from 18 values, so you are getting 0 to 17. Okay. So but you want to get all the values one by one. That moment you need to pass the list, and then within square brackets, you need to keep I. So what is the meaning of this? This loop, for loop, looks for index values because I have written here index number. Okay. So that index number will be taken. So see all that values we are getting from starting. Okay, starting from that is what 18 is what your total values. So you put a string value here. Okay, string value here, like what values of Vasu list. Okay, now you now now understand separators I have kept here. So that is what values of what Vasu list 18. So 18 number taken in the range function. So length of Vasu is equal to 18. So now it becomes a integer here. So for I in range 18, so print Vasu. Vasu means a list of index number. So index number is what? Initial index number is equal to 0. So 0 to 18 will be taken. So 18 means last value. Vasu. What is that last value of our list is what? What is the last value of our list? Where is our list? This is no. Rahul is the last value. Okay. But I told you that as per that last index value will not be taken. So up to Vasu will be printed. Okay. So if you want to see print bracket Vasu, if you want to see what are the values of your, this is the, these are the values of our list. Okay. These are the values of our list. Last value is Vasu. So if I pass I means index value. Index is equal to what? Index is equal to initial I is equal to 0. So after that, length of Vasu is equal to 18. So the total values will be printed 10.52 up to last value. Up to last value. Okay. So that is called what? Your range function and length function both have used here. Range function and len function used here for to print values by index number. Okay. Next. Ah. So suppose one more list is here, fruit list. Fruits list is equal, that list is equal to fruits. Papaya. Papaya, one more banana. It is a fruit list. Okay. It is a fruit list. So one more, that is what your take any fruit, grapes. So then what happened? One fruit list is created. Why it is giving error? Because you are some indentation margin you are, so no any margin indentation expected here. So remove this indentation means margin. So one list you have created here. So if you want to iterate through all these values, here we can use for loop also, a while loop. While loop. How to use while loop? How to use while loop? See, while loop syntax is what? While to while loop. Then first we need to say I is equal to 0. I is equal to 0. We need to declare what is the for loop. We need to declare the value of first I is equal to 0. Then after condition we need to write I less than okay, less than 5, then column. Now then print I. This is the syntax. So now what happened? Try to understand. In while loop, syntax is what? First of all, we need to define the value of I. I is what? Initial value, otherwise index value, a starting value. So then after condition, I less than 5. So I suppose 0, 0 less than 5. Okay. And print I. So it will print what? Infinite loop. So let us check. It will go for prints 0, 0, continue, infinite. The loop will not be disconnected. Continuously 0 will be printed. Why? Because try to understand. Why? Because try to understand. Continuously 0 will be printed here. Now, if you want, you need to close this one. If you want to close, okay, now come here. Now this while loop, why it is being continuously run, you need to try to understand. Because now while loop also will be used for to loop through lists. So first of all, we need to understand while loop. No? So syntax is what? As I told you that initial we need to set the value of I less than 5. So there's no any increment here. Always I 0 and 0 will be less than 5. Condition is true. So that's why every time it prints I is equal to 0, 0, 0, 0. So to stop that, we need to do that I is equal to incrementation. I plus 1. I plus 1. That moment what happened? That infinite loop will be uh, will not be infinite loop will not be continuously executed. Finite loop. Finite loop means what? Finite loop up to where whenever I less than 5. If I is equal to 5, so 5 less than 5. So condition not satisfied, so loop will be terminated. So I is equal to 4, 4 is less than 5. So condition true. So it prints up to 0 to 4. So let us see. Okay, now you need to say print I, print I. So you run this now. Why you this line of code that is to be under your while loop. Now come down here. Is what print I. Now what happened?